Hey everyone, it's Steve from the Zapable team, and I've got the second part of this getting started tutorial series with making your very first app. So in this one we're going to be looking at the background and splash settings for your app. Okay, so first of all, I want to look at the background settings. So this is going to be the image that is going to be displayed on the background of your app. Okay, now you have a choice of image or color. In this example, I'm going to choose an image because I have the images set up. But if you wanted to use a color, for example, just select the color option here, and then you're able to adjust these to how you want your the background of your app to be. If you want to change the color of any of these, you simply click on one of these little squares underneath, choose the color that you want, okay, and then hit choose, and then choose your second color again, which for this example I'm going to choose blue, and then click on choose, and you can see how that gradient appears on the app. Obviously, if you want them to be the same, then you just need to select one of the colors and just copy that bit of text there, select choose, and then go to your second one, and then just paste that code in again. Or I've done it the wrong way around in this example, but so just make sure the codes for the colors match in these boxes underneath. Okay, so say for this example I'm going to be using an image as opposed to a color, so I'm going to click on remove back color for now to get rid of that, and I'm going to select the image option from here. Okay, so what this gives us now is a choice of two options. We've got a portrait option and a landscape option. Now you will need both of these, and in some examples you can use the same in both. If you've got a pattern, for example, then essentially you would only need to upload the pattern to appear in portrait, and then you can check this box underneath here to use the same image for a landscape. But if you're doing what I'm going to be using in this example video for, say, I'm creating a golf swing app, then I'm going to want to use two different images. Although they're going to be from the same image, they're going to be proportionally correct for the type of display. Okay, and you'll see why I've done that in just a moment. So I'm going to click on this pencil icon here to change the portrait one first of all, and I'm going to click on add new. And I know, because I've done these already, that this is my portrait one here. So this is golf portrait. I'm going to click on open, and I'm going to click on done. But just before I do that, I want to highlight your attention to this note at the top of this option here. It is displayed when you hover over the app, as the image as well. It says the recommended size is 640 by 960, so it's 640 pixels wide and 960 pixels in height. Okay, so that's important when you come to create your images, that you know to use those sizes for the canvases that you're going to put your images on. Okay, and we'll cover that in a little bit more detail in just a second. Let me upload the other image here as well. So now I need to add the landscape one. So there's my landscape image, and I click on open, and again I'm going to click on done. Notice at the top again it says the dimensions you need, and it also says them here next to the text area as well. So landscape 960 by 640. Okay, so you can see that they are slightly different, and that although it's the same image, I've actually edited it in such a way that it works for the right dimensions to give me the kind of image that I want it to show on my app screen. Okay, so obviously, like I say, if you're using a pattern of some kind and it doesn't matter which way that pattern is shown, it's the same, then you can simply check that button there to use the same image for landscape. Okay, so with that done, this is the option to choose your settings, the color for the tab that appears for your settings or notification area background. Okay, so this is the color when, say, notifications come through the app. What color do you want that notifications screen or setting to be? Okay, so on this one I've just chose green. This is the same as any other color picker. You simply click that and choose your color. Now, because I've added those images, I'm going to quickly hit save, just to make sure that those are saved to my screen in case something happens. Okay, so those images are still there, which is good, and they're displaying on my app. Now just underneath here we have the splash settings. So if I click that, now this is going to give us the option to customize the splash screen. Now if you don't know what that is, when you open an app on any device, it is the image that appears first before the app is loaded. Okay, so for instance, on something like Facebook, what you normally have when you open the app is a blue screen with the Facebook logo or something in the middle, similarly to how you can see here with the Zapable examples. It's just a loading image of some kind with maybe a logo or some branding on it before the app actually opens and displays the contents of whatever you have inside that app. Okay, now given the number of devices that are out there, you need to ideally put in a variety of images which match. Okay, so when you hover over one of these options, you can see there's a little dark black box or transparent black box here with dimensions inside. So again, on this one you can see it's 640 by 960, and on this one it's 640 by 1136. Okay, so it's width and then height. You've also got options here for tablet as well. So if I select that one, you can see that we have some new ones here, which is 2048 by 1536 for iPad, and for Android we've got 2560 by 1600. Okay, so I've already created the images that I want to use for this. I've used my local photo editing software. I've used Photoshop because that's my preferred option, although I'm aware that Photoshop may not be accessible to everybody. So there are some online options which you can consider. I'm just going to quickly show you, what they are. I'm not going to go through a tutorial in this particular section of how to create the images to this size. We will do some further training on that. But the two I want to show you, the one that I use the most over the years is this Pixlr editor. It's a web app and it's at pixlr.com/editor, and all you do is you click on create a new image, and you can also open an image from your computer, and then you just adjust the image, changing the canvas size to match the options you're shown here. So you want to create a canvas of 2048 by 1536, then you need to move your image onto that canvas and make the adjustments you need to make it fit in a make it look good on that size of canvas. Then you save the image to your computer. Okay, so that's one of them. The other one, which is very popular at the moment, is called Canva. This is a very nice site. Again, this is a web app. You can not only use this on the web, you can use this on your phone as well. They've got an app in the Google Play Marketplace. I believe they would have one for iPhone as well, but I can't confirm that because I don't actually use any iPhone or Apple devices right now. So again, most of the time this is free to set up. You can use it as a small business, or you can use it as a personal one, obviously depending on what you use Canva for, really. Okay, now those are, to say, two free options for you. Now, one thing I would recommend is that when you are creating images, no matter what software you use generally, there are always ways in which you can compress that image and make it smaller, and by making it smaller it makes it easier for the device to load and render that image on whatever device is trying to display it much faster, because the file size is smaller. Okay, now there are ways in which you can export your images using Photoshop to make it specific for devices, but even again, once I found I'm doing this, there are still tools online which can compress the images to be much smaller than they were when I exported them using the settings, which should make them about as compressed as can be without losing any quality. Now, there is a website out there called tinypng.com, because the file size, the file type you need for splash images is what's known as a PNG file. The most common one out there is a JPEG file. It's just the type of file that the photo is saved in. I say PNG is just another option, and you can export in Canva and in Pixlr the file that you need in the right formats. Okay, so like I say, it's a PNG file that you'll need for these. And you can see on here that I did this, well, actually just a few moments ago, to compress the images that I'm going to use on my app for my splash screens. These are the files that I uploaded here on the left, and this is their file size when I uploaded them. So you can see this top one here is 3.3 megabytes, which is quite large for an image. And then we've got 758 kilobytes and 882 kilobytes. Okay, now this, all you do is you drag your images onto here, or you click on this and you open them from your computer, and then it uploads them, does whatever it does to them, it strips whatever data from them and keeps them at good quality. And you can see that the result is a much smaller file size. You can see over here that this top image here saved 74% reduction on the file size, 72% and 73%. So it's the file size is around 25% less than when I uploaded it. So it should load in a quarter of the time than it would have done had I uploaded the original images that I have. So on just these 3 images, we saved a total of 4 megabytes of file size, okay, which is quite significant given the fact that it's just 3 images we've used. Okay, so that's quite nice. So that's tinypng.com. It's free to use again. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to add these images via the Zapable upload. So I'm going to start with phones, and this is the 640 by 960 one. So I'm going to click on the pencil icon here. I go to add new, and here is my tinified file that we downloaded once that had been completed. So it's 640 by 960. I'm going to open that one and then click on done. I think I'm actually 1 image short here, which is a tad embarrassing for this video, but you'll get the idea of how it works, and we can obviously cover the last image again, or I can do that in the background before we move on. So this one is 640 by 1136. It's always helpful to save your files in the names that you know that you're going to need to upload them as well. So we need the one with 1136 in the title. So 640 by 1136. This is the iPhone 5, 6 and Plus. I'm going to click on open and click on done. Okay, so that's uploaded those 2 images there. Now I'm just going to hit save again before I flick over, just to make sure that, like I say, we want to save often on here, just in case anything I say goes wrong, although it doesn't normally. I say it could be anything with a browser crashing or whatever. I say luckily Zapable will save your progress in the background. So let me expand those splash settings again. We can see those images are still there. So for tablet, so for iPad it's 2048 by 1536. So I'm going to go to add new. So 2048 by 1536, and I'm going to click on open, and I'm going to expand to that full image size there and click done. Okay, so there's my other image. Okay, so it's 2560 by 1600. So let me just make sure I've got these where I need them. So I'm going to click on the pencil icon here again, and it's 205 by 1600. Let me just make sure that I've got the right one, which is the smallest file size. Yeah, so 2560 by 1600. Again, we want the full image on here, so select that and then click done. And now this will have added that last image to my screen there. Okay, so like I say, the splash screen is what's going to show up on whatever device they're looking at, and we've covered all angles here with the phones and the tablets, so it's going to show the appropriate image for the type of device that is looking at it, and it's going to look perfect quality, and because it's the right size for the device screen. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to click on save, and that brings this tutorial for the background and splash settings to a close.